Oh, happy day, beautiful people. Welcome back to the self-love series. This is day 13, y'all. This is going to be our full-on recap episode, going through everything that we've already talked about in this self-love series. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so in day one, we did an intro. I talked to you all about why I was starting this self-love series and what I wanted it to be about. In day two, we talked about what is self-love, and just kind of recap, I was explaining how with self-love, it's been a journey that I've been on for a while now, and how it's important to continue to have that self-love for yourself. And with Valentine's Day tomorrow, I wanted us to get in a different headspace this year around, and just know, regardless of if you have a Valentine or if you don't, it doesn't matter. Like, ultimately, I want us to just think about this day in a new way and think about it more so focused and fixated on self-love. In day three, we talked about setting boundaries, and I was explaining how it's important to say boundaries and say no sometimes, because this just helps with your self-love. You don't always have to say yes. It is okay to say no and set a boundary. In day four, we talked about self-care practices, and I explained to you some self-care practices that I do, such as exercise, and how it is important to have some self-care practices. And if you don't have any self-care practices, then it's important to go out and try new things, find some hobbies, find some things that you like to do so that you can have more self-care practices. And I also talked about how these don't necessarily have to be things that cost. It could be something as simple as resting for a day. In day five, we talked about positive self-talk and how it's important that we speak positively to ourselves. Speaking negatively to ourselves can have a negative impact on our self-love, so we want to always be speaking positively and having a positive self-talk with ourselves. Day six, we talked about celebrating achievements, and I was explaining how something as simple as waking up is an achievement within itself, and we have to be able to celebrate every single moment. And I explained how I am trying to stop saying I'm trying and just start saying I'm doing. And so celebrating achievements is important for our self-loves, because we acknowledge what we're doing and we congratulate ourselves and celebrate ourselves. Day seven, we talked about forgiving ourselves. And this is mainly focused and centered around forgiving ourselves for things that happened in our past. It's not that we forget what happened in our past, but we choose to forgive and move forward. Because if we don't forgive, we can start to see this come up in relationships and in the future. And in order to truly have that self-love for yourself, you have to forgive yourself of your past mistakes in order to be able to move forward. In day eight, we talked about prioritizing needs. And by prioritizing needs, this was related to self-care practices. This one was just talking about, even when you're busy, you have to prioritize your needs. And I think oftentimes we get so caught up in life that we forget to do that. But this is exactly what prioritizing needs was saying, is that with our self-love, it's so important to prioritize our needs. And I even gave you all an example of how you can probably just start setting aside at least 2 days a month and saying, these are my self-care days. Day nine, we talked about surrounding yourself with positivity. And I explained how being around negative people can have a negative impact on yourself, especially when you're working towards self-love. If you're around people who aren't pushing positivity, who aren't pushing P, you're going to start to be negative too. It's going to start wearing and tearing on you. So you want to be around positive people and environments, because in order to continue to grow, you need to be around people who are growing as well. In day 10, we talked about investing in personal growth. And I explained how I started purchasing things like my exercise programs when I was serious about getting on my workout journey, right? And how it's important to, whatever it is we're working towards, invest into it. because that's the only way, at least for me, that I'm able to see, like, I'm heavy on the self-love. I'm heavy on pouring into self. And that's what I told you all was the constant theme of this series, is pouring into self. So I wanted us to basically invest into our personal growth because it helps ourselves. Day 11, we talked about accepting ourselves, and you accept yourself for who you are. It's not to say that there isn't room to grow, because there's always room to grow. But basically, by accepting yourself, you recognize this is who I am, and you stand in who you are, and that's just that. In day 12, we talked about being authentic, and I explained how being authentic is not conforming to what others' beliefs are, not trying to follow others. It's stepping outside and being authentically you. It's doing what it is you want to do. And I explained how within my journey of self-love and getting to where I am, all being because I've chosen to be authentic and not ride a wave, not try to be something that I'm not, because the only person I can really be is myself. And I encouraged you all to make sure that you're being authentic and being true to you as well. And now we're in today, day 13, y'all. All I really want to close with is that we have to be compassionate towards ourselves, because with self-love, this is a journey. It's much like a healing journey as well. And it actually goes in line with each other. But once you find your self-love and you know your self-worth, there are a lot of things that you're not going to do anymore. But there may still come a time where you may make a mistake, and it's important to have that compassion for yourself and not beat yourself up about it, because you're human, right? But also in that journey, you're going to want to also have gratitude. And that's just being thankful. Just like I said, you have to celebrate your achievements. You have to celebrate and be thankful for how far you've come. You know, that is an achievement within itself. Have gratitude. Be thankful. Thank God for the fact that you aren't where you used to be and you are where you are now. And yeah, that pretty much is going to wrap up this series. This has been a really great challenge for me. I mentioned it on my Instagram broadcast channel that this was a new challenge for me, posting every single day. And it's crazy that it's already here, and it came, it saw, it conquered, and I've truly enjoyed talking about self-love. And if I missed anything, or if there's something that you wanted me to expand on, I'm more than happy to expand on it. Drop a comment below and we can definitely talk about it even more. But yeah, most importantly of all, remember, love on yourself. Self-love is the best love. We cannot truly love other people if we do not have that love within ourselves. Because if you lack that love within yourself, you'll go seeking that from someone else. So that's why it's important for us to have that self-love so that we can love other people. But yeah, that concludes episode 13. And so I'll be back tomorrow for day 14, which is just going to be a happy Valentine's Day episode. And I just wanted to use the last one to talk to you all and debunk Valentine's Day. And yeah, pretty much. Again, if there's something that I missed that you want to cover or that you want me to expand on even more, do not hesitate to drop a comment below. I hope you've enjoyed this self-love series all together. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.